सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Good evening, good morning. Welcome back, everybody. So after a couple of weeks break, we are going to continue the discussion of chapter 7. I got a lot of offline messages asking to repeat verse 13 and 14 again. It's always good to get such requests. So definitely we will recap. And in fact, we will redo because it seems a lot of people got confused with verses 13 and 14. Don't worry that they are confusing verses. So there is no problem. So thanks for raising that up. So the whole idea of this chapter, please try to understand this chapter properly, because this chapter is very unique. As we always say, this chapter gives a clarity or an understanding about Ishvara. It helps us to create an updated understanding of Ishvara, which is not conventional, because usually what happens is we develop a concept of Ishvara from early childhood, and we try to carry that throughout our life. And then we later start to criticize Ishvara and say that we don't believe in Ishvara. This is superstitions. When you say it is superstitions, when you say negate Ishvara, please keep in mind that what exactly you are negating. You are negating a concept you formed about Ishvara. So before negating that, you need to make sure that that concept is true or false. So that's where this chapter plays a huge role. And this is going to be continued in chapter 9, chapter 10, chapter 11, and all you see. So in this chapter, Krishna was self-introducing himself. He said, I have two forms of manifestation. The first form is my higher nature, which is known as Paraprakriti, which do not have any name, which do not have any form, which is the essence of everything, which is the transcendental nature of me, which cannot be easily directly perceived at this place, at this time. The only perception you can have is the consciousness in you. That is the higher nature of Ishvara, known as Paraprakriti. So this itself will negate a lot of misunderstanding people have. Some people say that if I take a flight to Kailash, if I don't see Lord Shiva, that means that Ishvara doesn't exist. So this particular point, Paraprakriti tells that Ishvara is not limited to a place. Ishvara is not limited to a time. It is beyond that. So then the second manifestation of Ishvara is called Aparaprakriti. Aparaprakriti is a derivative of Paraprakriti. Aparaprakriti is the manifestation of everything you see. Everything we see in the universe, whether it is physical, whether it is subtle, everything is Aparaprakriti. So every external object you see, hear, taste, smell, or touch, every thought you entertain in your mind, every emotions you feel, all are part of Aparaprakriti. And this Aparaprakriti constitutes of five physical matter, and mind, intellect, and the ahankara. So bhinnaha prakriti ashtataha. We heard that Krishna saying. So these para prakriti and apara prakriti is very clearly explained. And then Krishna tried to explain. You do not have, right? We paused and we discussed the whole idea of the transcendent nature of Ishvara. And also we talked about the immanent nature of the Ishvara. The para prakriti is the transcendent. To understand this, we used 4 examples, if you remember. The first example was the pot and the pot maker, because every effect has a cause. If there is a universe, and the universe has a cause, and that cause is Ishvara. But typically what happens? Every effect has 2 forms of cause. One is called, anybody remembering? There are 2 forms of cause. Nimitta karana and upadana karana, right? One is the material cause, the other one is intelligent cause. In the case, that is where the pot example falls apart, because every example has some defect. That is why it is called example. And this pot example, the defect is what? The nimitta karana is the pot maker, meaning the intelligent cause is the pot maker, and the upadana karana, which is the material cause, is the clay. But in the case of universe, nimitta karana is Ishvara, or the God, and the upadana karana is also Ishvara. So that is why Ishvara in our culture is known as abhinna, nimitta, upadana karana, right? Abhinna means non-separate. Nimitta means the intelligent cause. Upadana means material cause. Abhinna, nimitta, upadana. Non-separable material cause and the intelligent cause. In fact, both the material cause and the intelligent cause are the same. This is the Ishvara. And the problem for us is, and the second meaning, so that is this example. Just to see that it is abhinna nimitta upadana karana, we introduce the second example from the Mundaka. What is that example? The spider and the web. From where the material comes from for the spider? The spider is not going outside and trying to get the material, right? The spider creates the material within itself. And it is very interesting to see that at the end, the spider eats that web also. So the web, in fact, it originates from the spider. The intelligence is also spider. So that is why it's combined nimitta upadana karana. But that example also has a defect. What is the defect? The web is always different from the spider. Whereas in the case of universe, the God is not separate from the universe. The God is the essence of the universe. So we are trying to see the God in the universe as the universe. Underline, this is very important definition of the Vedanta. I'm just paraphrasing that into English. What Krishna is trying to guide us, right? He's saying that if you try to see the para prakriti directly, it is very difficult because it's in a different order of reality. So you are trying to see that God in the manifested universe as the universe. The whole universe is nothing but the manifestation of Ishvara. So to bring that point, he gave several examples. Rasohamapsu kaunteya, prabhasmi shashisuryayu, pranavas sarva vedeshu, shabdakham, paurisham nrishu. Several examples. So that the wetness of the water, the most inherent property or the dharma of the water is wetness. And that is what I mean. In other words, if you take that wetness from the water, it may look like water, but it is not water. So that which makes water the water is me. Prabhasmi shashisuryayu. If you see a sun, something like a sun, but it do not have that light, it is not the sun. So what exactly that X factor which makes the sun is me. So this will be elaborated a lot in the later chapter, Vibhudipada. Wherever you see a glory in the universe, that is me. And then he said, right? Jiva Bhudam Mahabahu. So apart from that, I am the life in all beings. So in other words, what he said, every matter is a manifestation of me, which is Apara Prakriti. And there is a direct manifestation of the Para Prakriti also in this universe, which is your consciousness. And Jiva Bhudam Mahabaho Yayetam Tharyati Jagat. In this form, I carry this universe. I sustain this universe. This is what the idea of Ishvara, idea of the God. So now the question is, this is where we are verse up to 12. So one more example. So the defect with this, so first example is pot and the pot maker. The defect there is the pot maker is different, meaning so the material cause is different from the intelligent cause. So we went to the spider example where the material cause and the intelligent cause is the same. But what happens? The effect and the cause are different. That is why we go into the third example, which is the most powerful example. What is that example? Swapna Drishtanta. So in Swapna Drishtanta, what happens? I am in a dream. The dream, let's say that I am sitting in the dream. We go back to the same example we used, Gangotri. Somebody is sitting in the Gangotri. He sees the mountain, he sees the Himalayas, he sees the Ganga, he sees the temple, he sees the sky, he sees the everything. So there is a material in that place. There is laughter there, there is cry there, there is all type of activities are there. Who created the Gangotri? Who created that space? Who created that time? And who is the creator of all the beings in that time and place? It is the person lying down in the bed in New Jersey. So the person lying down in the bed in the New Jersey, he is the material cause of the whole dream Gangotri, right? And for every being in that dream Gangotri, who is the God? The person lying in the bed in New Jersey. Now, do you have direct access to the person lying in New Jersey? No. So that is why one is in the dream order of reality, the other is in the waking order of reality. So that is what is, one is transcendent and the other one is immanent. So as a dream character in Gangotri, I do have access to the beautiful temple of Mother Ganga in Gangotri. I can say that that beautiful Mother Ganga is a visualization of Ishvara. I can see, I have access to the Ganga. I have access to the other people. I have access to the local tea stall. I have access to everything. But I do not have any direct access to the person lying on the bed. That is why it is transcendental. It is in a different order of reality. But there is an indirect access. Whenever you see in that dream, you can always say that the Ganga is a manifestation of the mind stuff of the waker. The temple of Mother Ganga is a manifestation of the person lying on the bed, right? The sky is a manifestation of the mind stuff of the person lying on the bed. I can see that. But the only way, the one thing that connects the dreamer and the waker is one common factor, which is the consciousness. The dreamer is also conscious. In your dream, when you act, when you go to a tea stall and get a tea and drink the tea and enjoying the tea, you are conscious of that. And that consciousness is the same consciousness of the waker. So that is why we say that the jiva or the consciousness we experience here is Paraprakriti, and that is the only path through you can see the Paraprakriti. When we studied the Mundaka Upanishad, we studied this. We said, right, the whole universe is Sat, existence. Right? But what happens? We said, what exactly is the true existence? We said that it should not be constrained by space, it should not be constrained by time, all these things. Is there anything in this universe which fits all at different categories? Absolutely not. So then Rishi said, Sat is Chit. Brahman is, or the absolute reality, or the God is Sat. And there is no way for you to find Sat directly from one object. But how can you experience? Sat is Chit, which is your consciousness. So when you know your consciousness, Aham equal to Chit. So Aham equal to Chit, Chit equal to Sat, Sat equal to Brahman. Therefore, we said Aham Brahma Asmi. This is top subject. Don't worry if you don't get it. But here, just focus on this Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti. So these three examples, brilliant example. One more example is given just to point out another factor. Krishna said that I sustain this entire universe. He used the example of a, the mala. All the beads put together forms a chain. And I am that, the thread that connects all the pearls together to form a nice ring. That example also has defect, because the pearl is different from the thread. So every example has its own defect, but overall, when you put all these examples together, you get a beautiful picture or understanding of Ishvara. This is what we said. But now the problem is, Krishna said, like, this is very easy. Then why nobody is recognizing me? It's very clear. Ishvara is everywhere. God is here. God is there. God was there yesterday. God will be there tomorrow. In fact, there is only one God. Nobody can miss me because everything is me. If that is the case, why you're missing me always? You find everything about me. Why? That was the theme of verse 13. So let's go there. Let's go to verse 13. So 13. Okay, so Anu, could you please chant verse 13?
त्रिभिर्गुणमयैर्भावैः एभिः सर्वमिदं जगत् मोहितं नाभिजानाति मामेभ्यः परमव्ययम्.
Are you okay? Your voice is a little bit.
No. Shall I chant one more time?
No, you're okay. Your voice sounds a little bit nasal. Like I was just hearing. You're okay, right?
No, fine. Thank you.
Okay. So Krishna tells, right, why people are not recognizing me. Very simple, right? He said, Tribhir gunair mair bhavair. Because of my bhava has this three guna. So just think for a second. What exactly you can see in the universe? It is the physical universe. It is the mental universe. That is the scope of my visibility. Right? When I say see, don't think that it is seeing alone. What you hear, what you touch, what you smell, what you taste. This is how you experience an object externally. And the thoughts you think and the emotions you feel. This is the scope of my experience. And everything in that, right? Every object I see or every object I perceive, every thought I think, every emotions I feel constitutes these three gunas: sattva, rajas, and tamas. Nothing is pure sattva and nothing is pure tamas. everything will be a mixture of these three. Guna, to understand guna, you need to understand this ancient world view. It is a classification. So per that ancient world view, mainly coming from Sankhya. So for the Sankhyan world view, everything in this universe is constituted of these three gunas: sattva, rajas, and tamas. And what happens? These world of objects, emotions, and thoughts, what is the speciality of this? This is one problem. Mohitam na abhijanani. It will delude you. It will confuse you. It will drag your attention completely away from me and keep on that object. Mamepya paramavyayam. So it will take your attention completely away from you, away from me, and keep it in themselves. In other words, you understand that there is a para prakriti and there is an apara prakriti. This apara prakriti, the power is so much that what happens? This apara prakriti is going to make you fail to see the para prakriti. You will see everything in the universe, but you fail to see the Ishvara behind the universe. And this aspect, or this by which you fail to see the para prakriti and you stick to see the apara prakriti, and this is known as Maya, one of the technical terms in Vedanta. And this problem, the problem of not seeing the para prakriti and because my attention stick to apara prakriti, it is known as samsara, the problem of samsara. So because of this Maya is created by the apara prakriti, which is born out of the Ishvara. Because of that apara prakriti, I fail to see the para prakriti, which is the real me. Because this apara prakriti is known as Mohini or Maya, and that fails, or that takes your attention completely, and you fail to see the Ishvara. So this is why in the Purana we talk about the story of Mohini. So you know the story of Mohini, right? So in the Paladi, the ocean, the story, when the nectar came up, the Asuras took the nectar and ran away. When they saw the Mohini, what happened? They got addicted to Mohini and ignored what? The nectar, Amrita. So here the Amrita, symbolically, right? These stories are very much symbolic. These Amrita represents the para prakriti or the moksha or the ultimate, the God or the reality. When you get addicted to Mohini, and this Mohini is also a manifestation of the Lord itself, you will not see the higher purpose of life, and you get suffered. What happened to the Asuras? They got addicted to Mohini and they missed the Amrita. So Mohitam na abhijana. Because of that delusion, you won't see. This is what is Shankaracharya beautifully expressed in his Bhajagovindam, right? Balastavat krida sakta. As children, what do you do? You don't worry about the higher purpose of the life. Forget about the higher purpose. You don't even worry about the bigger things in your life. You are attracted and addicted by the games. And now what happens? When you become adult or young, you think that you will understand everything. It tells Tarunastavat, what happens? Taruni Satta. You get addicted to the opposite sex. Then Vrithastavat, what happens? Chinda Sakta. You get addicted to or you get carried away by the thoughts, disturbing thoughts. Life is coming to an end. Paramai Brahmani Kopina Satta. Nobody has thought or nobody has the time to think about that absolute reality. This verse needs to be contemplated a little bit further. Think about each one of our life. We take everything for granted. We think that we have security and happiness from the setup around us. But you know, right, how long it can last. So there's a beautiful story. When you go to this Rishikesh and places like that, all these ghats, you can go and take a dip in the water, Ganga. This is Shankara's commentary itself. I'm just paraphrasing it. So don't think that this is my example. So Shankara's commentary is this. So if you go to a places like Rishikesh or Haridwar or any places, you want to take a dip in Mother Ganga. What is the nature of the Ganga? It's the flow is very high. What happens? If you just jump into the Ganga to take a dip, sometimes what happens? It will carry you away. So what do? They put some chains there. Holding onto the chain, you can definitely jump into the water and enjoy the water. But if that chain is not there, what is the risk? I may be carried away by the water. So what Krishna is saying is here that you can enjoy the world, but hold on to something permanent. Hold on to something permanent, which I can take a refuge. Yes, right now I hold on to something. It might be my health, or it could be my money, or it could be my relations, or it could be something else. It could be my power, or it could be my job, or whatever it is. So what happens? This can go away. What you're trying to do is you're trying to seek security from impermanent things. Isn't it? Parents think that the children is their security, and the children think that parents is their security. It could be true, but they are not permanent. Anything in this universe is not permanent. See, Kala Kridadi Gachat Ayu, Shankaracharya tells in the Bhagavad itself. As the time flies, the whole thing, what you thought as your security, is gone. So, intelligent person, what he does, right now itself, try to find something permanent as your source of security. This is very important. This is what the meaning of this verse. Try to find me, Krishna. Hold on to me and play in the world. Just like you holding on to that chain, you can enjoy the Ganga. You can enjoy the beautiful flowing river as long as you hold on to that chain. And without that chain, it is going to be a problem. This is the essence of this verse. So this verse is very powerful. And this is extremely important to understand. So the bottom line is, apara prakriti is impermanent, para prakriti is permanent. And if you think that your security and happiness can be derived from this apara prakriti, it is impossible. Any questions? Because this needs a lot of thinking and a lot of understanding. There is a lot to talk about this, but we can continue. This is very important. So think about that example Shankaracharya said. You can jump into the water after holding on to the chain. So when you slip, don't look for the chain. Right now, when you are health, wealth, and when you are okay, try to hold on to that chain, and that chain will never let you down. If you properly get connected, if you properly understand, and how to get connected with that chain, that is the theme of the next verse. So let's continue.
दैवी ह्येषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्यया मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामेतां तरन्ति ते.
So he tells, right? This Devi Hesham Gunamai. These three gunas refers to the whole enchanting objects of the world. Balastavat Krida Sakta. What attracts the balas to the Krida? It is the three gunas. Tarunastavat Taruni Sakta. Again three gunas. Vrthastavat Chinda Sakta. Everything is attracted by that three gunas. This world tries to grab our attention from all the sides, right? When you see that flowing water, you feel like jumping and swimming. It has a lot of attraction. So this world, which is born out of me, Mama Maya Duratyaya, it is very difficult to understand. Krishna tells. So you think that by getting $1 million or having some strong house or power, I am strong, I'm secured. See, what is the use of this billions of dollars when you are about to die? What is the use? I'm talking with a lot of conviction about this. I've seen so many people in the last few years going through very difficult life. But for an outsider, they look the most attractive life. So we try to acquire and possess. There is nothing wrong in that. What is wrong is you think that, okay, I will earn this much money and I will have a wonderful retirement life. What if you don't live that much time? And you put all these calculations and without understanding the fact that you're dependent upon something which is impermanent. So it's okay to navigate in that terrain after holding on to something permanent. But most of the people do not understand this fact. They think that the material world is going to make me. Everybody thinks that they will live forever. Everybody thinks that the fortunes will last forever. When things get slight turnaround, it's going to be difficult. So this Maya, just keep me there. And Krishna tells it's very hard to cross over this Maya. But he tells there is a way. Mameva ye prapatyante. Prapatyante means those who take devotion or those who surrender to me. This is the first time the devotion is introduced in the Gita. Those who get connected to me. Devotion, you're going to see the real devotion in the next two verses. It is not just sitting here and doing something. That is manda bhakti. So there is, the bhakti can be categorized into three levels. The manda bhakti, madhyama bhakti, and uttama bhakti. So the only way for you to get out of this Maya is mameva ye prapartanti. Those who get connected to me. Then he said, Maya metam tarantite, can transcend, can go beyond this delusion of Maya. If you get connected to me, it's like having that chain in your hand before you taking that dip in the Ganga. So, prapartandi means sharanagati or bhakti or whatever it is. Krishna is just talking. So, bhakti means, don't think that it's the bhakti that you are seeing in the temples or anything like that. It's there, but that's not the bhakti Krishna is talking. If you get connected me to Ishvara, not necessarily as Lord Krishna, right? He never say that. So he said, in whatever form you think, if you get connected to that higher para prakriti, you will be able to transcend this Maya. This is what this verse talks about. So the problem of samsara is given in the previous verse, and the solution of the samsara is mentioned in this verse. And this is going to be elaborated till verse 19. And then this will be elaborated, the devotion. How do you get connected with the God? Devotion has a wrong meaning in our culture. The real devotion is explained in chapter 12. Mechanically doing certain rituals doesn't give you that connection. Absolutely not. So very important. So we'll see all those points. But these points is clear, right? This was the doubt. What exactly is the significance of these verses? So hope this is clear. The clarity is, verse 13 tells what is the problem. You see apara prakriti and you miss the para prakriti. You get caught up in the apara prakriti and you fail to see the para prakriti. And then what is the nature of the apara prakriti? It is impermanent. It is fleeting. You cannot get permanent security. You cannot get everlasting security, unshakable security by holding on to apara prakriti. To that, you need to focus on the apara prakriti, and that is by connecting with me or surrendering to me or being devoted to me, you will be able to get connected with the para prakriti, and that will solve the issue of samsara. This is the essence of the Vedic spirituality, these two verses. If you really think, this is the beauty of the Gita. Like in between, you get these type of verses, which is good enough to cover the entire scope of the whole Vedic spirituality. These two verses are brilliantly talking about that. So let's continue.
Namam dushkrutino muthaha prapatyante naradhamaha mayaya pahritajnanaha asuram bhavamashritaha.
Another beautiful verse. So let's try to understand this verse, because each of these verses takes a little bit more time than our conventional sessions. So that's okay. So he tells, Namam dushkritino mutaha. So dushkrita. Krita means what? Done. Dushkrita means what? Sukrita means what? Well done. Or you did the right actions. Dushkrita means what? You did something which is not aligned with dharma. So those people who do not follow the dharma, dharma means what? What is to be done, the right thing. So those people who do not do the right thing, those people are dushkritiha. And what is their characteristics? Mutaha, deluded one. So that people, and Krishna uses another term, three terms to use people, to refer people who do not seek that higher life, who just caught in the material world. For them, they think that just getting something in this world for the time being is good. So dushkritinaha, mutaha, and another thing is nara athama. Nara athama. This is not caste system, okay? So some people call this as caste system. Nara athama means not evolved people. That's it. See, when you go to college, right? When you go from the high school to the first year, they behave very much immature way, or the kindergarten kids. That doesn't mean that they are bad or anything like that. So the narathama, the word doesn't mean that something bad. They are not evolved. Such people, when we say not evolved, what happens? Let's say that a child, if you give, say, $1 million plus a balloon to a child or a candy to a child, which one the child will pick? The candy. No doubt about it. Right? Why? Because of the childishness. So, when we say Naradhama means what? A person who has the whole potential of seeking that permanent happiness, getting connected with Ishvara, he settled for a little bit here and there. So that, just like a child prefers a balloon or $1 million, such people prefer petty worldly thing and think that that is the end of the goal, and reject in, okay, if you take that $1 million and balloon, then it's good. If you reject the $1 million and take the balloon, that is childish. And that is the type of people. So the people who does not align their work with dharma, why? Because they think that these impermanent things can give them the permanent happiness. So that type of mutha, deluded people. And what happened? Prapadyante, they do not seek me. Mayaya apahrita jnana. Why they do not seek me? Their mind and intellect is deluded by Maya. Why the Asuras went after Mohini compared to the Amrita? Because their mind was deluded by the beauty of the Mohini. Mayaya apahrita jnana. Asuram bhavam ashritaha. They live the life of an Asura. So when you see Asura, don't think that it is somebody with like a horn or nothing. Asura means what? So let's see the definition of the word Asura, right? So it's an interesting problem, this whole verse. The whole verse is talking about, Krishna is talking about those people who do not seek Ishvara. So the people, there are three characteristics, as I said, right? One is dushkritiha, Then second one is Mutaha and Naradhama, who are not evolved. So those people. And these people's mind is robbed away by Maya. Apahrita Chetasa means they have lost their thinking power or the discerning power because of the Maya. And when their mind is robbed by the Maya, what happens? They just reach the condition of an Asura. And what is an Asura? This is very interesting point. So Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha refers to the people who have set, meaning just display the qualities of an Asura. So the definition of Asura means the one who revels in all things that are not higher or not good. So if there is a path of good and there is a path of pleasant, Shreyas and Prayas, the Asura is the one who prefers the path of the pleasant or the path of good. When there is a like and dislike, if their likes and dislikes are not aligned with Dharma, Asura is the one who goes after the likes and dislikes, not with the Dharma. So it means Asu Ramate. That means Asu means sense organs. Ramante means the one who revels in the sense enjoyments. So another meaning of Asura is one who has the tendency to hurt others. It need not be physically, it is mentally also. The one who has the tendency to say lies. The one who has the tendency is to act against Dharma. They are Asura. So under the power of this Maya, what happens? Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha. Such people get the qualities of the Asura. So you don't need to go to a Purana or a Hiranyakashipu to see the Asura. Most probably each of us, if you go to the mirror and do a true introspection, we can see at least a few Asuras in us, including me. So Asura is a characteristic, right? Asu ramante iti asuraha. This is the definition. So Asura is not a lower caste person. Asura is not a particular category by birth. Asura is somebody who exhibits the characteristics of pleasant over good, likes and dislikes over Dharma, the tendency to hurt other people. So some people, when they open their mouth, my God, they just hurt the other people. Such people are walking Asuras. And when you go away from that Paraprakriti, because of their, meaning they violate Dharma, they are deluded, they are not evolved human beings, their mind is carried away by Maya, and they take the characteristics of Asura. So verse 13, Krishna said, what is the problem? Problem is what? Getting hold on to Apara Prakriti and forgetting the Para Prakriti. The intelligent living is enjoy the Apara Prakriti by holding on to Para Prakriti. Very important. Some people think that they don't need the Apara Prakriti. Krishna make ridicules of them because where exactly you are living your life? In Apara Prakriti. So you cannot ignore the Apara Prakriti at all. So you need to live, you need to enjoy the Apara Prakriti by holding on to Apara Prakriti. Instead of saying that I don't want to take a dip in Mother Ganga, identify a stable place where you can hold and take a dip. That is the intelligent living. And the solution of getting caught in the Maya is because The power of Maya is very high because it is three guna. It is called Mohini. It attracts you. It drags your attention away from everything else. And I quoted Balastavat Krida Sakta, Tarunastavat Taruni Sakta, Vrithastavat Chinda Sakta, Paramai Brahmani Kopina Sakta. And finally, the solution to get out of this was discussed in verse 14, which is holding on to that chain, which is the Ishvara. So, and when you hold on to Ishvara, you will be able to transcend the power of Maya. And why a lot of people do not seek Ishvara? Because they are not doing a lot of act against dharma. They are deluded. They are not evolved. Their mind is deluded by Maya, and such people exhibits the characteristics of an asura. Right. And finally, in the next verse, Krishna talks about the other categories of the people who does good things and who seeks Ishvara. So that is what we'll see in the next session. So Anok, if you can do the closing prayer, we can take one or two questions.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Guru Pyo